Hello students, I am Dr. Amit Bhatnagar, working as Senior Research Officer in the Department of Agronomy at GB Pant University of Agriculture and Technology, Pantnagar, Uttarakhand. In the series of this organic farming, we have discussed about the fundamentals of disease, insect and pest management in organic farming, and this lecture is available in the playlist and you can watch this lecture, and there are different strategy and different fundamentals for this management, and this strategy can be grouped in three levels: level A, level B, level C. Level A is preventive methods, it is the first line of defense. Level B is second line of defense, in which we use physical and mechanical methods, and level C is the third line of defense, in which we use biological, botanicals and biopesticides. So broadly there are three types of control practices, we can say. First one is preventive methods and cultural methods, which are known as level A. Second one is physical or mechanical methods, level B, and third one is biological methods, that is level C. So here we will discuss about the level A. Preventive practices means cultural practices. Actually in organic system, these preventive practices are cultural methods, and here objective is to prevent the population of insect and disease to a high level, that is the beyond the economic level. When we talk about the preventive methods of weed control, that are different, so a separate lecture is there for weed control method. So these preventive practices are actually for disease, insect and pest, not for weeds, because weeds are plants, so strategy is different, practices are different. So these are mainly for the insects, pest and diseases. So objective is to prevent the population to reach the economic injury level. So these are based on cultural practices. So first one preventive method is the selection of the cropping system. We should select diversified cropping system, different type of crops which belong to different family. For example, if we are using the Gramineae family crops like Poaceae family, rice wheat, then the pest which occur in Poaceae family will accumulate in the field, and then it will be difficult to manage. So different family crops can be grown like Poaceae, Leguminaceae, Cruciferae. Different type of crops can be grown which belong to different families, so that a biodiversity is maintained. Then crops should be adapted to that region and should be resistant if it is recommended for that reason, and that would be beneficial. So resistance and adaptation is very important in the crop. Then variety, similarly variety features which resistant variety, if available, we should grow resistant variety which is resistant to a particular disease, so that chances of disease are very less. So selection of cropping system means diversified cropping system is very important. This is the basic we can say basic practice. Maintain the biodiversity so that natural interactions are maintained. Then seed material, if we are using any seed or any planting material, it should be free from disease, infection or eggs or any type of infection. If a seed is already infected with disease, it will spread the disease. So seed material should be clean, certified and free from the diseases. Then sowing time is very important because our practices are aimed to prevent the increase in population. Actually pest dynamics or insect dynamics is such that that their population increases with the time, and at a time population reach at a toxic or at a high level. Suppose this is the time graph, so pest population increases like that and then it start to decrease. So this is the maximum or peak activity of the pathogen or the insect, and at this stage it causes maximum damage to the plant, and this stage is known as critical stage. So if crop is at critical stage during the peak activity, then maximum damage in crop. So we should planning in such a way that the peak activity of insect or disease doesn't coincide with the critical stage or maximum vegetative stage. If it overlap or coincide, then if foliage is there, maximum growth is there, and at the same time there is peak activity, maximum insect disease, definitely there will be loss. So we should consider what is the peak activity time or what is the critical stage of the crop, and both should not coincide. So sowing time is adjusted. So normally when we go for a normal sowing time, timely sowing, so this problem is less. In late sowing, this problem occurs in case of disease and insects. So late sowing should be avoided. Otherwise, there will be more infection of disease and infestation of insects. Then spacing, every crop has its own recommended spacing for a reason. And we should follow this spacing. Actually, spacing affect the foliage of the crop. So suppose this is the crop, this is the crop, this is the row spacing. Suppose this is the 30 centimeter row spacing, suppose, and we narrow this spacing. Suppose now the spacing is suppose 20 centimeter. So now the foliage will overlap and there will be dense canopy, and because of this dense canopy, aeration will be poor, humidity will be high, and once the humidity is high, it favor the disease and insects. So canopy adjustment is very important, and it can be done through spacing adjustment, geometry. So geometry is very important, row to row spacing and plant to plant spacing to maintain aeration so that humidity is not high. So high humidity is undesirable. It causes disease and insects. So these cultural practices with regard to crop sowing time are very important. Then balanced nutrition. Actually, the nutrition help in the health of the plant and growth of the plant. If health is good, then plant can resist the insect and disease, and particularly potassium nutrition is important. Potassium, and most of the farmer avoid this potassium. They generally give only nitrogen through urea or phosphorus through DAP, and they ignore the potassium. Potassium is very, very important element. Actually, this element is known as quality element. Quality element. Because of potassium, the quality is improved with respect to taste, color, texture, size, and it impart resistance against the disease and insects. It makes the epidermis very hard, so that's why penetration of insects and diseases are very less. So potassium provides the hardiness. It also provides the resistance against the water, the drought. So plants can survive under drought condition, less moisture condition. So potassium is highly helpful to avoid the disease, insects, and drought resistance. And it helps in stomata opening and closing. So it helps in plant water regulation. So potassium nutrition is very important. And when we use the potassium, then we can reduce the incidence of disease and insects. On the other hand, if there is excess nitrogen, nitrogen is excess. Nitrogen in recommended dose is good. If we are using the recommended dose of nitrogen, then it is good. But most of the time, most of the farmers use excess nitrogen, because this nitrogen through urea gives a green color of the crop, then it looks very good. But actually, it is not the good condition. Nitrogen increases the succulency in the plant, means the water content. Free amino acids, free nitrogen compounds, and this succulency and free nitrogen compounds, amino acids, amines, invite the insect and disease. Actually, insect and disease also require nitrogen. So that's why if nitrogen is more, there will be more insect and disease, and crop damage will be high. So nitrogen high dose is very, we can say lethal, or we can say it is undesirable, because it has more disease and insects. So avoid excess nitrogen and give the proper nutrition. And balanced nutrition means the plants require all essential 17 nutrients. So each nutrient has its role in a specific function. So we should maintain the micronutrient soil test value. So we should use different type of nutrient source naturally which are available, because synthetics are not applied in organic farming. So organic matter is good source because it contains all essential nutrients. So this organic matter is helpful in balanced nutrition, as well as it improves the soil properties, particularly aeration and water holding capacity. So aeration is improved, then it means water is maintained and water logging is not there. And if porosity is poor, then water logging will be there, and this water logging causes several diseases. There is water spreading, disease is spreading through water. So this is an undesirable situation. Another role of organic matter in this management of disease and insect is that this organic matter during the decomposition produce several compounds, several organic compounds. And these organic acids and organic compounds are helpful, which provide the resistance to the plant. Humic acids are released. So it creates a favorable environment for the plant, which suppresses the diseases, pathogen, and the insects. So these humic compounds and organic compounds are very helpful for the plant. So that's why maintain the organic matter supply, not only for the nutrition but for the suppression of disease and insects. Then cultivation methods. Actually, these cultivation methods are tillage practices, and these tillage practices actually are done to prepare the seed bed. But in case of this preventive methods, here the tillage practices oxidize because it till the soil, so they oxidize the soil. So these are helpful for decomposition of infected plant. So infected plants are decomposed. So cultivation practices should be such that the infected plants in the soils are decomposed timely, so that they do not spread or carry the insect eggs or pupa or pathogen to the next season. So tillage in such a way that decomposition is maintained, aeration is maintained. Secondly, tillage should not be excessive, otherwise there may be soil erosion. So if soil is eroded, then soil microflora and soil microfauna is disturbed. So we have to maintain the soil microflora and fauna. So not the excessive tillage, not the very less tillage. So tillage should be maintained. So these are very important. And this tillage control the weeds, and these weeds are the host plant for the insects and diseases. So this cultivation practices destroy the weeds, means the host is disturbed, so their life cycle is break down. So tillage is very effective in preventive measure or in reducing the this disease and insect. Tillage reduces the weed population, but also helpful in reducing disease and insect, because infected plant parts decomposed, soil flora and fauna is maintained, which maintain the biodiversity and has a competition with the pathogen, and host weeds are destroyed as a host plant. Then water management means irrigation should be done in such a way that there is no waterlogging, because if there is excess waterlogging is there, so this anaerobic condition favors some diseases. So some diseases aggravate and become very high and cause the crop damage. So avoid the excess irrigation and waterlogging. Similarly, if leaves are wet for longer period, so there may be fungal infection, bacterial infection, fungal spore germination. So irrigation should be done in such a way that water is not on the foliage. If foliage is wet, then there may be chances of disease infection. Then sanitation measures to remove the infected plant part from the field. If the plant is infected, then remove that plant from the field and destroy this material. So if any infected material or infested material, then remove the plant part or the whole plant and remove from the field and discard it properly, so that it not carry or spread the disease or insects. Then cover crops, and these cover crops are actually secrete some chemicals. Root exudates. These are the poison for some insects and some diseases. For example, Sudan grass and rapeseed and mustard crop. These roots secrete the chemical which suppress the nematode. So Sudan grass can be grown as a cover crop to reduce the population of nematodes. Similarly, rapeseed and mustard crop can be used as a cover crop. Cover crops are grown to cover the soil. Main objective is that. But here, this secretes the chemical, and so nematode population can be controlled by growing the cover crop. Then trap crop. Trap crop are actually attractive crop which attract the insects. So when we grow the trap crop, so insects are on the trap crop, not on the main crop. So main crop is saved. For example, this is the main crop. So suppose this is the main crop where insects come. So we can grow one line of this trap crop. Then this main crop, then 1 or 2 line of trap crop in between, and similarly the trap crop are on the boundary of the field, of the field. So these crops are more favored by the insect. So insect attack on this crop, trap crop, rather than the main crop. So insect population is on trap crop. So this crop is saved. For example, alfalfa is planted in cotton. So insect bugs are on the alfalfa crop and cotton is saved. Similarly, okra, bhindi is grown in and around the cotton field. So the wallworm insect is on this okra crop. So this cotton is saved. Similarly, marigold is grown. For pod borer in chickpea, marigold is grown. So this pod borer attract towards more on marigold. So this crop is saved. So if there is now here is infestation on the of the insects here. So now insect population is here. Now this crop is destroyed after the attack of the insect. So insect is there. Now insect first attack on this trap crop, because trap crop is more loving, provide loving food for the insects. So now the trap crops are destroyed. If these trap crops are not destroyed, so insect lay egg on this. So they, otherwise it may increase the insect population. So it is essential to destroy the trap crop once it is infested by the insects. So this is the way to save the crop. So now there is damage on trap crop only, not and main crop is saved. But precaution is that this trap crop should be destroyed. Otherwise it remain as such. So insect is there, egg laying is there, then generation will increase. So population will increase and problem will be more. So trap crop is destroyed. So these are the preventive measures for insect, pest and disease management in organic farming, and these are not for weeds. The weeds were different preventive methods. So these are considered as level A first line defense mechanism. Thank you very much.